Hi guys, it's Katie from Without a Crystal Ball. Okay, I think we're getting ready for the epic World War III between Jon Gosselin and Kate Gosselin. Now, things had been kind of quiet. Jon and Kate were in a gag order as a part of their custody case ordered by a judge in Berks County in 2010. And when that expired, he went on a rampage and said a lot of things about Kate that he had not been able to say, apparently, for the last 10 years. And one of those was that she was a terrible mom, that she was doing terrible things to her kids, forcing them to work. He wanted them off the show. He wanted them off the air. He also talked about how he was financially ruined, and court records show that Jon's still owes quite a bit of money to a lot of different people as a result of everything that has fallen out between him and Kate. I should note, though, the interesting thing here is that Jon and Kate's custody situation is still ongoing, and last year Kate actually had a contempt of court that was ordered, and she's still avoiding service for that, you guys. So there's actually a citation in the magistrate district courts in Pennsylvania for a contempt of court for her failing to comply with a court order. And she's avoiding service on that. While she's avoiding service on that, she's yelling at Jon about allegedly doing something to Collin. Everything sort of blows up on Instagram when Collin shares a photo with a brown screen that basically says that his dad is a liar, accuses his dad of punching him in the face and kicking him in the ribs. He then says, "My dad's a liar." And then the next day or 2 days later, he posts a photo. It appears that there's a little mark above his nose, and it's disputed in terms of what you guys believe, because some of you guys don't believe this at all. Others of you are just like, he's just an out of control kid and he's suffered a lot in his life, and perhaps the reason why Kate had placed him in an institution was because of his anger issues. Well, after he posted that, Jon did not respond to anything online, and in fact, Kate was the person to break the silence for the family, which many of you thought was an interesting choice, being that Kate's the one that placed Collin in the institution and saw him only 3 times in like 2 years, according to Jon. Now, this is his side, obviously. I don't know what the side is of Kate's, but Kate has never spoken out publicly about her decision to place him, nor has she discussed any of the logistics in terms of if she visited him or not. Now, here's what we have today. So all of the allegations come out by Collin. Collin makes the accusation, I should note, and then Kate calls up people and like yells at people about Jon Gosselin. And she says that she gets this record from the child's and social services in Berks County, which basically talks about a report of an incident that involved Collin, which involved physical harm to a child, punching and kicking. And then there was a witness or someone that was there, basically said that Collin threw a bottle at his dad's car. It dented the car, and then Jon subsequently put him in a headlock, punched him in the nose, and kicked him in the ribs. Now, she was going off, and she said she did not want this to be swept under the rug. Berks County said no charges would be filed, and there was an investigation, although it wasn't clear whether or not it was a ongoing investigation or if anything would happen, because Collin did apparently call the authorities. He was apparently, according to Kate, removed from Jon's house, although, again, no confirmation from Jon on this. And she also states that she doesn't want him around her children, and that he is a terrible father, and that she regrets that he is the father of her kids, and enough is enough. And she said that she sat back while he has trashed her name, but if it involves her kids, she will never stop. Now, the interesting thing here is that when everything happened with Collin and they were getting him out of the institution, and there was going to be a custody thing where Jon got full custody of Collin. That's right, Kate has 0 custody of Collin. She has no rights to him. He has sole custody. She didn't even petition that in the court. But now, suddenly, she is very concerned about Jon, and suddenly is pushing back at Jon and saying that he needs to have his parental rights removed, and she doesn't want him around the kids. And she refuses to brush this aside because authorities apparently are not taking her seriously or not taking the incident seriously. She also says that Collin is not in his house. Well, Jon now is coming out and he is denying everything. So, you guys, whoo, it's a busy day. So Jon, through his attorneys, I should note. Now, the interesting thing is that he did not specify where Collin was. He only said that Jon has never hurt Collin. No charges have been filed against him, and there's no ongoing CYS investigation. Collin has endured severe trauma. Jon is a loving father who has worked hard to ensure that his son gets the support and help he needs. So Jon seems to be playing the Collin is a troubled little boy that's been through a lot in his life, and because of that trauma, he's acting out, and he is working his best to get him the care and help that he needs. Now, he is correct. No charges have been filed, although I don't know where Collin is, because he didn't necessarily refute that claim. He didn't deny that claim. He just simply said, there's no investigation and I wasn't arrested. Kate then clapped back and she talked to People magazine again and about Jon's response that nothing had happened and there was no investigation. And she says that's not true. She said, until I receive a letter in the mail from CYS about whether they're deemed the allegation founded or not, it is ongoing. My point of contact at CYS has not told me otherwise, so I have every reason to believe it is still ongoing. People did reach out to CYS for a comment and they did not respond. So Jon says there's no investigation and Kate says they haven't told me that. They say it's still ongoing. I don't know what you guys believe. Now, just because no charges were filed and no arrests were made doesn't mean something didn't happen. I don't know what it was that happened. A lot of you guys seem very skeptical to believe that Jon would actually be a part of this kind of behavior. It's hard for me to know. Honestly, when I started digging into this case earlier today, I started to look at some of the court records to see if Jon had a specific motivation for speaking out against Kate once the gag order was lifted. And as I started sifting through a number of different documents, it's clear that Jon still owes a lot of money to a lot of different creditors. In fact, there's a judgment out for a tax lien from this year, one from 2016. He has another judgment for something related to jewelry or something. There was this dispute that he had with Kate in 2018 where she sued him for $132,000. And this was the one sticking point that I never really understood here, is that Jon claimed that he didn't have to pay child support. And as a part of this agreement, just to walk away, like he agreed, like Kate would get custody and he wouldn't pay child support. But I found an article back on Radar Online from like 2012 that said that he wasn't actually lifted from child support. He still had to pay child support. There was just other things that he didn't have to pay for. So in 2018, she files this judgment against him for $132,000. He fights it because the court is because the records are sealed and they have a gag order. There's no way of knowing what it was for. It does not say what it was for, but I'm guessing it was for back child support. And it's not clear what he agreed to pay her, but she originally sued him for $132,000. So here's the issue I have. Whether it's Jon did this or not, and whether Kate's angry at Jon, both of these parties seem to be highly in a very toxic, hostile child custody dispute. And they seem to be more interested in being right than having the best interests of their children. Now, Jon going online and slinging mud at Kate doesn't help his children, and Kate going back and yelling at Jon online doesn't help their children either. If she is genuinely concerned by what's going on, she should be contacting the social services. She also should be filing for an amendment or something to help with her custody, which when I looked online, as of today, I could not see any court records of Kate doing anything related to custody, related to Collin. Nor, the only thing I did find for Kate was the judgment she filed against him in 2018 and that she's avoiding service for contempt of court for not abiding by the court custody case of having work permits for her kids and also not including Jon in the conversations on if her kids are working. Now, all of Jon's actions against Kate over the past year resulted in her getting fired from TLC. So in a way, it was almost like revenge for Jon because he's financially bankrupt. He doesn't have any money as far as I can tell. And Kate has been very lucrative. Well, now she doesn't have a job with TLC. She doesn't appear to be having any sponsorship. She doesn't use her social media at all for, sponsored posts. And I don't know what she's doing for income at all. Like, and she might have invested really well. I don't know if she's gone back to nursing. I have no idea what Kate is doing for work. She has not worked in probably a year at this point. So if Jon's goal was to expose Kate and get her to be broke, that's probably on its way to happening. But again, I don't know how this, again, helps the kids. So I'm very confused here. I believe something happened to Collin. I believe that Collin has suffered a lot by both parents, probably. Maybe not both, but he's definitely gone through a lot. I think both parents are doing a disservice to their children by continuing to do this online. And I think that if Kate really is concerned about Collin, she should be taking the proper legal steps to getting custody of him or working with the courts to establish a relationship with him, because at this point, Jon has been adamant that Collin has no relationship with his mom and has no interest in a relationship with his mom. And now if Collin's not with Jon, where is Collin? That I don't know, and Jon didn't say. All right, so what do you guys believe? I'm going to stay neutral, and I'm just going to try to say, like, if Jon did this, that's really bad. I agree with Kate. But Kate should stop running away from this contempt of court, get served, and deal with the citation, Kate. Stop being a baby. And Kate, if you're serious about Collin, do the right thing, go through the courts, and stop talking to People Magazine. All right, you guys, tell me what your thoughts are in the comments below. Bye.